Trailblazers in San Antonio. Huge win for Portland in this one, tying up that series at 1-1. A 106-103, crazy little ending there. Scoot Henderson, hello. 31 points. He was 11 of 17. Kamara was 8 of 10 in the fourth.
Man, I thought that was going to go down.
This game was insane, but the story, unfortunately, is the... I've already have one in my hand. I've been doing it all morning. Victor Wembanyama going down. That was a hard one. And you know what? It was a rare situation where when they play the replay, the slow-mo was one thing, but watching it in real time was actually worse.
I thought he was literally asleep right there.
Because he couldn't get up. He was wobbly.
It's not good. And obviously it's not good for the series for the Spurs. It's not good for his health. And again, this isn't something you can just rush back and just kind of get out of protocol. He's got to be in silent rooms. He's got to do all these different steps, even just to get cleared. He can't practice. He can't be at the facilities. So, there are steps that he's going to have to take just to get ready. So I think obviously Game 3 is a long stretch for him. And again, that's tough because this is a scrappy Portland team that they're playing, and they're going to try and expose no rim protectors now. And as good as Luke Cornett is, this team is completely different without Wemby on the floor. Now, they've had success in the regular season without him, but this is just a huge blow. We know his impact on the defensive end, how good he is offensively, how great he looked Game 1. But this is nothing to joke around about, and this is nothing that he can rush through. So it says maybe Game 5, maybe Game 6. Well, you never really know how he's waking up, how he's feeling, but there are just steps that he's got to take that you can't shortcut before you can even get on the floor.
So Jeff Stotts is an injury analyst. The average time lost for a concussion is about 9 days, which would mean he'd return for Game 6. That would be on April 30th. The Spurs, they have what it takes to hold off at least till then, right, Lou?
We hope there's a Game 6.
Yeah, we hope so. They didn't have their best night on the offensive end, but what stood out to me is Portland being 3 for 12 in the lane when Wemby was in that game, and then going 17 for 32 in the paint after he goes out. That opens up lanes, especially for a team that loves to slash and that loves to get to the paint and use that ability to open up the three-point line for them. That's going to be an issue for the Spurs. I like how aggressive Castle was. He wasn't efficient last night, but I like the aggressiveness that he was showing. De'Aaron Fox is another one. Vassell is another one. All of those guys didn't have their best nights on the offensive end. I think we see a different version of the Spurs if they can clean that up. But you can't ignore the fact that the impact that Wemby has on the defensive end for what the Spurs are trying to do against a team like the Portland Trailblazers, and they took full advantage of it. So now you have to rework your entire game plan around the guys that you have opposed to the guys that you want to have. Obviously, Wemby is a big part of what they do. Now they got to make some adjustments. They got to figure something different out.
Look, and in fairness, and all the credit to Portland, they came out and with Wemby on the floor. They went to like 19-5 or something right off the bat when this game started. They came in hot. De'Aaron Fox. Look, this is an interesting situation because we've seen him be the guy, and you would think if Wemby goes out, all of a sudden he steps up into that role again, and he was 1 of 6 in the fourth quarter. It was ugly shooting for the Spurs. He's got to do better.
Yeah, he's got to be the guy, and again, it's got to be a collective effort, and this is where their guard play really has to show up. It's going to be a collection of De'Aaron Fox, Castle, and Harper. I expect them to play even faster than they did before, try and get out and push the tempo against this Portland Trailblazers team. Harrison Barnes, another guy, looked too. Keldon Johnson. And again, he went to the locker room kind of, holding his left hand and wrist. Dylan Harper was holding his thumb. So these are bad things that happen so early in the season or in the series. But again, this team was 12-6 without Wemby. They know how they're capable. They've done it before, so the experience should help them a little bit come this series. But again, now the Portland Trailblazers, they see blood, and it's not a good thing going back home for the Spurs team. But they still have enough to get out of this series if the guard play is great, if Vassell steps up and makes shots, if Harrison Barnes, there's a bunch of ifs now with Wemby out.
I'm not going to blame it on one guy or another. I look at the San Antonio Spurs as a group, as a collective. I've never looked at them as an individual. I like the fact that De'Aaron Fox stepped up and even took 6 attempts in the fourth quarter, trying to put them out of their misery and trying to step up and be that closer. But all season long, we've talked about Devin Vassell. We've talked about Stephon Castle. We've talked about De'Aaron Fox. We're looking at Keldon Johnson as a possible 6-man of the year candidate. These are all guys who've individually done the things that they're supposed to do, but we recognize them as a collective. And none of those guys were great last night. You look at their plus minus, all of them were in the minuses. Nobody had a lot of turnovers. Fox had 3, Castle had 3. All of these guys can play better as a collective. I feel like if they clean some of those things up and minimize mistakes, we see a different version of the San Antonio Spurs. But this is a series now. You're looking at a Portland team that knows that Wemby is probably out for sure game 3, for sure game 4, and now we're looking at it. We're looking at a confident group, and they're going back to their home court. This is a series that can get interesting real fast.
Yeah.
I don't really want to
Did you forget that we were?
I don't care. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Actually, you know what? Maybe the Portland owner will not want to pay the bills for the electricity, and they won't be able to have those games. Back there.
We got to talk about that.
Oh, that's going to be a long. That story ain't going away at all. But Scoot Henderson. He was asked.
Talk about him.
Let's talk Scoot for a second. He was chosen in that draft 2 spots behind Wemby. He had a funny quote about being asked when he knew he had it yesterday, and he said when he got up after he brushed his teeth and went downstairs and did all that.
Bottle that up.
But
Perfect.
man,
whatever that routine was.
Guys, I think a revenge tour is a beautiful thing that as humans we get to do. This feels like he's just wanting to show everybody.
I mean, this is a guy that came into the league with high expectations. He was a lot of people's picks for Rookie of the Year, and he's been altered by injury, and he hasn't been able to get his rhythm, but he looks confident in the series. His mid-range is it's like this dude, he's kind of showing us, his full, complete game here, and we haven't talked about him a lot this season or in his career because of those injuries, because of the up-and-down kind of seasons that the Trailblazers have had. But he's putting us on notice now. You see 24.5 points, shooting almost 50% from the field in his first playoff series. That's a huge step for him personally, confidence-wise. And the Blazers need it. We all know how good Denny is, how good these other guys are with Holiday, with Grant, with Sharp. Like, they have so much talent, and Scoot is kind of outplaying all those guys right now when they need it the most, which is huge.
And we're learning a lesson in the basketball community. We got to be patient with our young players.
Fair enough.
Some guys develop on their own time, right? So we looked at Scoot Henderson as one of those guys coming out of the draft as a possible Rookie of the Year candidate, this and that, and it didn't quite go his way, but he continued to just put positive days ahead, and brick by brick, he's able to put himself in a position where he can average 24.5 in the playoffs and shooting damn near 50% from the field. That's a lot of confidence, but it took some time. And because of that, I think he's able to realize the spots on the floor that makes him successful, knowing when to attack, knowing when to shoot, being able to digest the game possession by possession, and now he's starting to see the fruits of that labor. So we just got to be patient with our young guys.
Yeah, but Scoot, if you want to take the next couple of games off, bro, you should. You've earned it.
Think about all these great cards.
Maybe just rest.
I've never seen a guy be in a run like he's in and want to take a game off, want to take a break.
So hot right now.
Dev know what I'm talking about.
Devin Harris,
when
by
you
the way.
start cooking, ain't no taking off.
Hanging out because we're going to talk to him next about all things.